Welcome to Can I Park Here? Brought to you by findafashiontruck.com. Nashay and Estrell's mission is to inspire future and existing small business owners. They don't claim to be experts. They're simply trying to figure this all out, just like you.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Can I Park Here podcast, brought to you by findafashiontruck.com. My name is Nashay Snow, and I'm here with
Estrell Riles. Today, we have the pleasure of chatting with Lee Laroux. She's a clothing designer in Oregon, and she hand makes all of her stuff using upcycled materials. And they're actually really, really nice. Like, I saw some stuff on her website that I really want, but unfortunately, it's like discontinued. So I'm a little upset, but hey. But it was really fun talking to her. She shared with us her journey from being, I think she said she had her degree in animal science, was it, Nashay?
Something like that.
Yeah, so she went from that to doing garment manufacturing, having her own boutique, her brick and mortar boutique, to now just about to open up her own mobile boutique in November.
And she is super fun. You can tell that she has like a lot of energy and is a fun person to be around. And I think you guys will learn a lot from her because she's had a brick and mortar store. She's also had like her own garment manufacturing house. And now she's about to kind of delve into the world of mobile boutique. And just with her energy and good spirit, I'm sure she's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. But before we get to her, we actually had someone leave us a message on the website. Yay! I get so excited about these.
Wow. Is that all it takes?
That's all it takes. I mean, it's not much. If you want to leave us a message, remember, you could go on startafashiontruck.com. Just click on the podcast page. And when you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a little thing that says send a voice message to submit a question. You just click the, start record or whatever, and right from your phone, your computer, or whatever, you could just leave us a voice message and leave a comment or ask a question or whatever, and we'll play it on air. It's so easy. So please do it. It's really exciting. It just makes me happy. But let's listen to this quick message from Melanie.
Hi, ladies. My name is Melanie. I am newly subscribed to your podcast. I'm really enjoying it. I have a question, however, about finding quality wholesale vendors. I'm curious as to where other fashion truck participants find their quality vendors at, particularly for kids' clothing items. I've been having a number of issues finding quality clothing items for children in the wholesale capacity. So if you guys or any of your listeners could provide any resources for that, that would really be great. Thank you.
Thanks for leaving the message, Melanie. So I actually put the question out in our Facebook group forum just to see if any of the members, had any type of feedback or suggestions on where you can find the children's clothing for wholesale prices. So a couple of the responses we got back is lashowroom.com and fashiongo.net. So, and also Magic in Vegas. So that is magiconline.com. Now, we personally recommend Etsy Wholesale. That is a great place to find vendors for everything under the sun.
And then you also have places like Alibaba.com, and we'll have all the links to these in the show notes. So if you go to startafashiontruck.com, you'll find them there for this episode. And we'll also have, I found a page, a great page, and it It's a page that features like U.S. brands that sell wholesale. So they're kind of boutique children brands that sell wholesale. We can't speak to them, but they seem to be pretty legit and pretty cool. So for example, there's like, this isn't clothing, this is a hair clip, but there's like hairclippy.com. And it's like this no slip hair clip for babies, which is really cute. And they sell wholesale. There's another one called Busy Bees Kids, and they sell baby girl, baby boy clothes, and then also just like girl boy clothes. And so you can buy those wholesale. And then there's one that's abirdbaby.com. And all these websites, like when you go to them, they're like really fancy. I'm like, I need to like just buy my nieces and nephews stuff. It just makes me want to buy stuff. You know, on here, it has like some other things that you could like buy wholesale. So there are at least like, I would say about 40 different vendors. There were a couple of broken links in here, but of children clothes. So that's kind of another way. It just depends on like if you want to, you know, buy from like one of the bigger vendors like at Magic or at Alibaba, or if you want to support maybe some of the smaller local vendors. And then, you know, also if you see cute children clothes out, you could find out what brand the kid is wearing, maybe ask the mom or something. And if you want to sell those clothes, you know, usually you look online and see if they sell them wholesale. So I hope that helps out a little bit. We'll search a little bit more. And if we find any more, we'll definitely include it in the show notes for this episode.
So let's get on with the program. Here we go.
Hello, Laura. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
Glad to have you. Really appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time out to like interview with us. I know you have an early flight tomorrow morning going back to Oregon. So we really appreciate you kind of giving us a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit like about you, like before kind of you opened up like your boutique, like how did you get to here, like to this place?
Well, I kind of went backwards. I had a brick and mortar for 5 years in Oregon, and I am really a designer, but I thought, oh, I'll just get a store and do resale clothing and local designer stuff, and I'll just get to sit in the back and sew all the time. And turns out that's not what happens when you have a brick and mortar. And it kind of consumed my life. I got a little resentful of the brick and mortar because I just wanted to make my designs and sell them. So I started doing shows, and then I got rid of my brick and mortar and actually opened a garment manufacturing house. Yeah, and that was a crazy little ride, but then I just decided to focus on my designs, and I think I did like 9 or 10 shows this year, just all through California and Oregon. And then it's really exhausting. I created this whole setup. It's a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20, and it's made with old pallet boards and old fence boards, but it's really intensive. It's like a fort, and it's really heavy and hard to put together. So I thought, you know what if I just had a trailer and it was always set up and I could just go and open up shop wherever. So that's kind of how everything got to this point.
Wow, I have so many questions.
I know. I'm like, where do I start? But I'm really curious about the garment manufacturing. Like, how does that work?
Well, I was really, really positive about it. I thought it was gonna go a lot smoother because I'm really passionate about made in the U.S. and a lot of the manufacturing has just dissipated in the country. So we opened a garment manufacturing house where local designers could come and have their designs manufactured when they got to that level. It's really hard. I guess I understand more why there's not more of those factories, because in order to have really good profits, you need high numbers, and most local designers or independent designers, they can't really reach the minimums required to keep a manufacturing house really going. So I was really kind of disheartened by the whole thing, but now I'm here, so it's okay. But I think I probably could have made it work if I had different people that we were working with. So I definitely encourage more people to start up little manufacturing houses, because we definitely need it.
And how long were you doing that?
I only did that for about 1.5 years.
And so now, so you for 5 years, the brick and mortar, and 1.5 years for the garment house. And so now that like you have your own kind of mobile retail business, do you still kind of like make your own clothes, or do you just sell clothes from local designers?
No, everything in my boutique is me. I have a whole line from, accessories to dresses to overalls, kind of a whole product line. And we are just making it out of, I have a little studio in the barn at the farm that I live at. So we're kind of just producing out of there right now.
And you're making everything yourself. You're not using a manufacturer at all.
No, I have people,
Wow.
Yeah. I have people that sew with me. But yeah, and everything I do is from upcycled materials too. And so it's really hard to get large amounts of scrap fabric. So the cutting and everything before the sewing process is really labor intensive. So that kind of has to be done in-house anyway. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I do all the leather work and cutting and most of the sewing, and then I have some people that sew out of their houses too for me.
And I know working with leather is pretty hard, isn't it?
You know what? Everyone says that, and I let them think it, Oh, yeah. It's tough. But I prefer it over fabric a lot because you don't have to worry about seams. Like the finishing is just a whole different process, but it is hard in the sense that if you are sewing and you mess up, you can't really take it out, because once the hole's punched in the leather, it's there forever.
Okay. And since you actually make everything yourself and you don't use a manufacturing company, how do you go about determining your prices since everything is so labor intensive?
Yeah. Well, the main kind of formula is materials plus labor times 2 is wholesale, and then times 4 is retail. A lot of my stuff, it's kind of like I might make more profit on like my leather goods, for instance, and then I can't really sell my dresses and stuff wholesale because they would just have to be too much, and I don't think people would pay the price. So I haven't really quite figured out the exact pricing system. I'm kind of winging it a little bit, like how much will someone pay for this that I can still make a profit on? But it is really hard because I don't know exactly how much something is to make, because I'm paying people by the hour to help me do stuff instead of by the piece mostly.
Okay.
And then how, since, most of, or all of your products are made from upcycled material, that means you probably can only make like a small quantity of them. How do you determine like what size to make them? Like, is there like a magic size where it's like, okay, most people in my area are between X size and X size, you know, because I'm sure that gets like tricky, right? Because you probably experience people who are size 2 all the way up to people who are size 16. But if you could only make, let's say, 4 pieces out of like the material you have, like, how do you figure out the size?
Oh, this is such a good question that you guys totally understand. Okay. So a lot of times the material based on the width, I'll know that I can either make a larger size and make 1 in this material or 2 smaller sizes. And I've gotten to learn that some of my styles fit people better that are a wide range of size, and then some of them, like my overalls, for some reason, like my extra larges and plus sizes don't sell in them as much. But then in my dresses, they sell more. So I just try to make, I do make less plus size than I do of my smaller sizes. But it's also that people, because I'm little, people will look at me and be like, oh, well, that looks cute on you, but it's not going to look cute on me. And my theory is just try it on. Like, really, like, once somebody tries it on, it looks great on them. It just takes them knowing that this might actually fit for them to try it on.
I know. I'm looking at your website right now. I know I'm off task right now.
So just hated it too. I was like, oh my God, if they look at my website, one of my pictures is still like cut off wrong. I was cropping it.
I'm looking at these stretchy bloomers. I need some of those. They look so comfortable.
Yeah, they are. But I'm discontinuing them because they're really hard, because stretch material all stretches different amounts. Mm-hmm. So if I'm making, say, a medium in 10 different fabrics, they're all going to fit a little different. And it's really hard to get a consistent fit with them, but they are really comfortable. And of course, now that I'm like, oh, I'm discontinuing them, I swear everyone, like, that's the thing that they want. So
exactly. Because, it's interesting. I have like a tall fashion blog. And so guys will probably be like, oh, geez, what am I listening to? All the listeners out there. But I did a article on like girls who experience like chub rub. And so that's like when your thighs kind of rub together. And these type of bloomers are perfect. So if you have like a cute dress, especially a flare dress, if you have something like this under it, it's not only cute, but it prevents the chub rub. So it's kind of perfect. And you don't, I feel like it's hard to find like, kind of underpants that aren't like Spanx, because it's like,
right.
It's like, I don't want to look skinnier, or I don't want anything to squeeze me. I just, want something to like prevent the rub. And so these bloomers are super cute. So yeah, it's going to be like broadcast on here, and then all of a sudden people are going to hit your website up like, where are the bloomers?
Gosh, it is such a weird phenomenon. Like, for the clothes that I wear of my line, I'll just wait until something doesn't sell for a while, and then I'll just be like, okay, well, I'll just keep this one for myself. And then, of course, when I'm wearing it, everyone's like, oh, that's the one I want. And you had your chance. This thing was for sale for so long. So maybe I just need to tell people I'm discontinuing something, and really it'll just be a marketing ploy to bump up interest in it.
But you know what? A lot of places do that. Like, I see boutiques all the time. They'll have big going out of business signs on the door. I'm like, but you were going out of business like 6 months ago. Like, how long is this sign going to be up here?
Maybe it's a marketing technique.
But yeah, since Astro, you brought up the website, I really like how kind of your website looks. I like, just the style of it. How did you go about creating your brand from your logo to your website to like the type of, like the style of the pictures? Like, how did you figure that out? And did you get help from like designers or photographers? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I just had my website redone this past spring, and I'm so happy with it. There was a girl actually that modeled for me. I used to produce Eugene Fashion Week, and she was one of the models, and she said she was doing some graphic design work for a local company on the side, and I kind of scratched her brain a little bit, and now she's doing it full time. It's called Hatch Bites, and we used WooCommerce, and I really needed something. I had already been using WordPress, and I thought about going over to Squarespace because I really like the look of the Squarespace sites, but I figured I had already learned so much with WordPress, I really couldn't see myself relearning everything all over again. So it's a learning curve for sure. And then I kind of lucked out with the style of the photos that we just did and put up because it happens to be in style right now to do this kind of blown out, almost 70s vintage looking style on the photos. And that's kind of what I am into anyway. And the photographer that I had used her before, and she had done these images. Her name's Sarah England, and she had done these images for me a few years ago. And I was kind of like, well, they're kind of blown out. I don't know. But then I really liked them. And then as soon as I started researching some other brands that I'm really into, I was like, oh my God, that style is exactly what this girl had done for me before. So
yeah, they look great.
Yeah. And I'm kind of riding this wave, like what seems to be in style right now is kind of my always style. So I hope it sticks around for a little while. This kind of like grungy country. I call it modern prairie. That's how
I like that.
like Laura Ingalls meets like New York City or something. I don't know.
I see it everywhere. I think it's going to be around for a while. I mean, you never know with the styles, but it seems like it's just getting more and more popular.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all over IG. I see it all over Pinterest. I mean, even when you look at kind of like Anthropology, which is one of my favorite stores, they have that same kind of like feel to their photos too. So I don't see it going anywhere.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, right?
And then how about your logo? How did you come up with that?
I just came up with this Revivall, and then I was like, oh, revive all. And then I thought, what really represents reviving something but the little EKG reader thing. So I kind of came up with the whole R that goes into the heartbeat.
No, I think it looks great. I think the design of the logo mixed with like the style of your website and the photography, they all just kind of like tie together.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Out of the items that you make, I realize that they're kind of like mostly one-of-a-kind pieces since they are made from upcycled materials. But do you have like a best-selling style?
I think that my shirt dresses are definitely my top sellers, and I'm going to be releasing my pattern. I'm just kind of writing my instructions right now because I want to release it and then have other people be able to make dresses out of men's shirts. So, yeah, they're all men's shirts. All of my dresses, all of my skirts, they're all men's shirts. So that's something I'm really excited about too, is having something that I am sharing with other people. And then that'll kind of free me up to move on to other design ideas and stuff. You know, for a while I was like, oh, if I share the pattern, then everyone will have it. And then, you know, I won't be original. But I think that it's actually good when you do that. It kind of infiltrates into society a little bit more so that people can get the style. A lot of times people, they don't know how to define my style. Like if I go to like a Western type area, they'll say it's too bohemian. And if I go to a regular store, they'll tell me to go to the Western store. I'm like, oh, just pick one, please.
But I think, you know, I feel like there's like this DIY revolution going on. So even like on Etsy and some of the other places, like patterns, like people are buying patterns like crazy. So I feel like this is like the age of like making stuff. So people are either like doing calligraphy or handmade crafts or buying like old and new sewing machines and like sewing their own dresses and skirts. So it's definitely like the perfect time to kind of share that. And then you probably will have like a little market just there where people are going to be coming to you for some of your cool patterns.
Yeah.
No,
When the manufacturing house, we were making things for a woman that makes baby things. And so she was making just little like squares that were, you know, napkins or washcloths or whatever. And I kept thinking, where's my circles and squares? Like, where's my super simple cut out a circle and sell it, you know? And I realized my pattern that's what that is. Like, I don't have to do anything. Someone can just download it and do it. You know, once I finally get the instructions and how to do it and the pattern released, then I don't have to think anymore about it, you know?
Have you tried like pitching to like Urban Outfitters? Because like your style like would fit in perfectly with them.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I've heard such.
And they work with like local designers and stuff like that. Like once you get in there, like you're golden. And you know, they're linked with like anthropology. And I think a lot of designers, they start off at Urban Outfitters. And if they sell really good, then they can move up
Really?
to like anthro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they have another one too. I forgot the name of it.
It's Free People.
Free People. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am so like I've heard horror stories about them. Like, you know, there's this whole thing that as an independent designer, yes, I'll only be able to grow as much as you know, it'd be an organically grown kind of business, but there's this fear that I have that by going to a company like that, like who's to say they don't just take your idea and then they have all of the ways to mass manufacture it, and then I'm kind of left in the dust, you know? I mean, I've just kind of heard not such great things about how they do that, but
you know, I've heard stories about like Etsy sellers and how Target has been stealing designs from people on Etsy.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't even have to be like in a store for, you know, them to steal your stuff. Like
I know.
They can just go anywhere, like to your website or something, and steal it.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's like just like support local designers and then like pay them for their idea or something like that, right? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but you are totally right. I mean, once something, I've done so much research in the, you know, trying to patent or copyright my pattern and stuff, and there's really no protection. The fashion industry is one of the only industries that has no protection over any ideas because everything has been done and redone and done and redone, you know? But it's true. Once it's out there, like people would want us to sign contracts or clauses with the manufacturing house, and our lawyer was telling us we could sign something that nobody that worked for us or that was in our manufacturing house would copy their designs. But really, as soon as something is out there, it's up for grabs.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just go ahead and work with them because they're going to do it or not,
Yeah. Now, how did you go to school for this, like fashion design, or are you self-taught?
Well, first I got a degree in animal science.
Oh, wow.
And then I went to fashion school at FIT. So, everyone's like, "Oh, you should make clothes for animals," like the podcast you had, the
oh yeah,
Pooch House, yeah,
the Pooch House, yep,
yeah.
That is like crazy popular. People love buying stuff for their animals. It's so sad I'm admitting this, but like I'm still looking for an outfit for Tyson, my little dog. Like,
are you talking about for Halloween?
For Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could have kept that to yourself.
You could edit it out. Well, I mean, I even have a dog and I put bandanas on her. That's kind of like the extent of what I do. But
that's all she gets.
Yeah, because people think she's a boy all the time. So yeah.
Now, I'm just backtracking a little bit, but I'm just curious. 5 years to have a brick and mortar open is pretty impressive because I forgot what the statistics are for brick and mortars, but I don't think most of them last like more than 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So how were you able to kind of keep yours operational for 5?
Well, and when I sold it as like I sold the business as the business. So it would have even gone longer, but unfortunately the people that bought it it doesn't exist anymore. But I think I had a really specific niche. Like it was resale and local designers, and then in the back I had a studio. So I'm also a real community person. Like I lived in an intentional community for 7 years, and so the studio was a community studio, and I had 4 or 5 gals that would have studio space, and then they would work in the store for exchange for the space. And so when somebody, yeah, it was really great. I highly recommend it because when people come in, they're actually watching the design process happening. And so we taught sewing classes, and we did repairs and alterations, and we could do custom work, and we could fit things that people bought in the store perfectly to them. Because with resale, you don't always find the size that you're looking for. So it was a really good little niche market, and it kind of had a lot of little things going for it. So, if one thing wasn't doing so well, we would kind of bump up the other part of the business.
And then, so now I know we haven't really touched on it much, but so how long have you had your the mobile boutique, and how's that going? The trailer.
It's just getting finished right now.
Oh, because you're supposed to launch the 1st of November, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so this is going to be a really crazy little adventure. I'm launching this as the Revivall Roadshow, and my dog and I and my business associate, she's going to meet me for a week, and we're going to do a tour because I really feel like I've really been isolated in a way in the Pacific Northwest for the past, 8 years, and I really want to get my brand out there. And so I think this is the best way. We're going to go down through the Southwest and over to Austin, and then over to California and back up to Oregon.
Okay.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Fun road trip. I guess the tricky part is like determining how much stuff to bring with you. Because I guess that's the hard part, right? Because you just don't know how much you're going to sell. So you just try to bring enough so you don't like run out.
Yeah, I actually, if I get everything made that I want to have made, I'll actually have about $50,000 of inventory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not going to run out.
Well, the thing is because I have so many different styles, that's the hard part, to know what's going to be popular. And then I'm going to try to have it worked out so that the people that have been working with me, like the gal that's been helping me with my leather, like if I am getting low on leather belts, that she will be able to cut some more and be working on more so I can have them. But it's like at least a 2-week lead time for anything. And I always, before a show and before this event, I start freaking out, like I don't have enough stuff. And really, if I ran out, that would be a good thing. Like,
that is true.
So I need to calm down a little bit and just enjoy the process.
And then have you decided like what point of sale system you want to use?
So I've been using Square, but actually, have you guys heard that Etsy has a swiper now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got mine.
You did?
Mm-hmm. It's a long wait for them. Like I had to get put on the waiting list.
Can I tell you a secret? You can just use the Square reader with the Etsy app.
Are you serious?
Really?
Because I was
oh my goodness, game changer.
Yeah. I was on that wait list too, and I was like, because if I sell something on my Etsy, then I have to go, like if I sell it in person, then I have to go into my Etsy and mark it as sold. And there has been times that people have bought something on my Etsy and then I've sold it in person. And it's only happened twice, but it also is so great because then you get the credit for the sale and it goes through there. But I don't know if this has happened to you, but I've had it decline cards before because the Etsy app will read it's from Brooklyn, New York. And so if someone's using their credit card and they're at a show or something, and so their credit card's saying, Eugene, Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, and then all of a sudden it says Brooklyn, New York, they won't let the credit card be used because they think that it's fraudulent activity.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know how to change that because then once you've swiped it, then I can't swipe it on my Square because there's already this hold on it. And yeah, I don't know if they're going to fix that, but that's the only downside with the Etsy swiper.
And you have your location services enabled?
Yeah, it'll say swiping in wherever I am. But I guess for the credit card, it says it's New York.
Wow.
I'm sure, I'm sure it's on one of those Etsy forums. Like someone has to have complained about it or have a workaround, or maybe Etsy has put out something.
Yeah.
Because that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But, and it's funny now that you've mentioned like using like the Square swiper, I'm like, that makes total sense because all of them are just swipers. If you use the PayPal, the Square, the Etsy, I mean, it has like a fancy little plastic case with their colors on it.
Yeah.
But really it's just communicating with whatever app you have open, right?
Right.
So.
I totally geeked out with this guy at a show once, and he was a computer guy, and I was trying to find this out from him. I was like, how does the reader know what app you're, and he couldn't explain it to me. So I thought, well, I'll just try it, and it totally worked.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, you guys heard it first from Revivall Clothing. Okay. Don't forget about that. Wait, I'm still waiting. I've been on the wait list for like 6 months for the Etsy thing.
Etsy, don't hate me.
Right.
You know what? They're not, because at least people are using their app,
Yeah, they're
so
still
making money.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just telling Nashay the other day that I got an email that they are now implementing shoppable photos in the Sell on Etsy app.
What does that mean?
So you can use the app and you can upload a photo. Say, take for instance, you're at a show and you can take a photo of your stuff and then upload it to the app, and then you can tag your listing in the photo. So, and you can share it on social media. So when somebody sees the photo, they can just click on the photo and it'll take them directly to your listing and they can buy it from there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
That's really great. I keep thinking, what's the next Etsy? But, I think it's just kind of like Facebook. It's just going to be Etsy for a while.
But there is also Amazon Handmade.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm probably going to try that out too.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I haven't made any sales on it yet. I feel like I'm lost in there because I feel like it's the jewelry makers and clothing. Like there's some like really hot categories, whereas I make light switch plates and that's not one of the featured tags. Like it's not featured category. It's like jewelry, clothing, and some other stuff like handmade goods. So I don't know, but I haven't really tried to market the Amazon Handmade too much yet. So it'll be interesting to hear from like some of the other kind of stores on there, like if they've been able to like turn more of a profit there than they have on Etsy.
Well, I feel like Etsy, like you just said, you feel like you get lost on Amazon Handmade. I feel like that's kind of what happens with Etsy. You just, if you're going to search for something and 500 pages come up, really?
Right.
I mean, you're going to get something on the first, 5 or 10 pages. So if you're on page 398, like, it's just pointless.
Yeah. And I remember when Etsy first started out and it was a little bitty thing, but now it's just such a monster.
Because they opened it up to everybody. It's not just handmade people anymore.
Right. Yeah. The vintage and then, I'm trying not to judge. I'm probably going to sound a little judgy, but I was on there and there's like jean shorts that people have cut off and put in the wash a few times. And I'm like, I feel like I want to be in a different category.
Right. Like my stuff is handmade.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No, that's fair.
Cut and washed in a separate category and, made by hand every step of the way in a different area or something.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's lost some of its charm.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, I really want to find out through everything that you've gone through, what are the lessons that you've learned and what advice do you have for other small business owners?
Okay. So my biggest thing that I think I've learned, and I just posted it on my Instagram. Somebody did a nice little meme of it, and it said, most people achieve their greatest success one step beyond what looks like their greatest failure. And I have a life coach and she calls it trouble at the border. Like when it's just bear with me. It's great. When you're getting really close to actually achieving a goal, that is kind of when the most issues and problems sometimes arise, or when in your mind you start thinking that you can't do it or it's not going to work. And it's just right before you get to that goal. And so it's really like when you get to that point, that's actually a sign that you have a lot at stake. And that means, your biggest risks can be your biggest successes.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, I'm going to ask you a few wrap-up questions just to help the audience or the listeners get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite blog, book, or TV show? And if so, what is it?
I really liked parts of that book, Girl Boss. And I have this podcast I listen to. It's, is it Radio Lab? And you guys, and then I listen to an astrology podcast every week, and that really kind of helps me a lot. And then I guess I have been watching Downton Abbey. I kind of got sucked into that. I've cried twice. So this must be a good show, or else I'm really hormonal. It's pretty good.
If you could have any celebrity, entertainer, model, athlete, whoever visit your mobile boutique, who would it be?
Okay, so I was thinking about this a lot, and I wanted to have a few.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I think, first of all, I would love Beyonce because I feel like just the energy of her sheer presence would kind of bless my I know. And I would love, I've been listening to this group called Shovels and Rope, and the girl in it, I think it would be really cool because I just think somebody that's kind of in the alternative country singer songwriter world that would wear my stuff. I would have to pick somebody like that from a business perspective. And then just from a pure personal level, I would love my future husband to walk into my boutique.
That would be convenient, so you don't have to go anywhere. He just kind of comes to you. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think that is the most true to heart original thing I've heard so far.
Yeah,
I like that.
I was I shouldn't say it. I'm supposed to be this independent woman, but it's true, so I'm gonna say it.
Hey, go for it. And what do you like to do in your free time to just kind of wind down and de-stress?
Well, I grow a lot of food, so being in the garden is really important, and just taking my dog for a walk. Sometimes I'll take her for a walk and I'll be looking at my phone the whole time, and I'm like, what am I doing? This is supposed to be my chill out time. And then exercising, and I sometimes get to go ride horses, and that's pretty fantastic.
And then are you Android or iPhone? And what's your favorite app?
iPhone and Instagram all the way.
Your addiction.
Instagram all day. It is so amazing for marketing. I just think it's been my biggest marketing helper so far.
Have you been able to sell anything from Instagram?
I've had 2 inquiries recently, but getting ready for this road trip, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to roll into a town, open up my doors. Hey, here you go. But, people have started liking me in different cities, and then I just kind of contact them directly. And so I've had a few stores that I've reached out to from Instagram, or other designers in different towns that kind of make similar stuff. And I'm trying to kind of pair up with them and do a joint event or something. So it's been really awesome because people just see what you're doing right there, and you got your style and the whole feel and vibe of your look. It's really great.
Yeah, I really like your brand. Like I'm on your Instagram account now and it kind of matches the website too. And you have like amazing photos that really kind of capture like the essence of your clothing line. So yeah, I can see how people could get drawn in and it makes them want to like, oh, I want her brand in my store or I just want to purchase, that skirt, which is great.
Oh, it's working. I always look at other people's and I'm like, I wish mine looked that good. And then somebody says something like that. And I'm like, oh, I'm faking it too, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I think Estrella will tell you I'm like, if I wouldn't say anything at all if I didn't like it. I would just keep my mouth shut, but I love it. I love the colors. I love, just kind of what you've done with it. So you definitely have like a consistency when it comes to the quality of your photos, like even the color scheme that you have, it's like everything flows together. It tells a story.
The video of me in the red overalls where I fall over. It's pretty funny.
Nice.
I'm kind of a goofball. I was really excited to be on this podcast because I listened to you guys and I'm just laughing. Like, when people laugh and it makes you laugh and
Right.
It's just like goofy, silly, fun. I just think life should have more of that in it,
No, yeah, I completely agree. And then, Estrella's going to ask, of course, the final question for the night, but I was just curious. So are you able to do, because, a lot of people are usually curious about this for the different mobile boutique owners. Are you able to do this full time or do you have like another full-time job and only do this part-time?
I am right now full time. I sometimes sew for another business part-time, but I'm like at that point where my savings has kind of dwindled away and I'm right at that point where it's like this is either going to be really great or I'm going to have to go work at a restaurant or something. But I believe, I have faith. I think it's gonna work out and I won't have to get a real job just yet.
Well, I feel like we have to do like a part 2 in 2016.
Yeah, no, I want to. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
I would invest a lot of money in my business and just hire, I'd hire a bunch of sewers. I'd hire a really good PR person and I would just go, totally invest in my business.
But that's what makes or breaks a business sometimes is like the PR, like just getting it out there. Cause all you need to do is like get enough fans and enough people who believe in you. And then that's what gets you going. It's like you could have the greatest product in the world, but if no one knows about it, you're not going to make any money.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And I just think I really admire and respect that you ladies have taken this jump to do this podcast because that's a commitment. You got to have new podcasts all the time and things to talk about and
yeah.
new ideas. It's like you're not just doing a one-time thing. You're committed and it's such a leap of faith, but I really feel like we all have to take that if we want to be happy,
Yeah, and I'm hoping this works out because if it doesn't, I'll probably be like one of those people dressed in those costumes on the street, like maybe at Domino's or something, like flipping a pizza, just dancing in the middle of the street.
You might be good at it. I would be really good at that. Maybe we could do it together.
If you see me out on the street, this podcast didn't work out.
That means you have to share the podcast with as many people as possible so we can get sponsors so Estrella doesn't have to work in the street. Wait, that sounded really bad.
It did. Not that kind of street worker.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
Well, thank you for coming on. We really enjoyed having you. I think people are gonna get lots of nuggets. The one about the Etsy app is like the greatest. So, just
Yeah.
use the square one. That's gonna rock people's worlds. But
Yeah,
you've
right.
also dropped a lot of other nuggets. So thank you
I
for
hate when you
coming
say
on.
nuggets.
I know you hate that word. I like
I hate it.
nuggets. I like nuggets.
I used to have a rabbit named Nugget. Oh, you guys are great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Such a great, fun episode with Lauren. We really had a good time. Lots of laughs. I love laughing.
Sure.
Yo, Grump.
I know, right? You're just too happy for me sometimes. I just want to punch you in the face.
Wow. I'm so keeping this in. People, you hear the violence. This is
No,
price of friendship.
Too happy. But yeah, so I love independent designers. I love it so much. And I hope that she has great success with her new mobile boutique that is opening up in November, people. So put that on your calendar to make sure that you follow her on her social media and check her out.
Yeah, I mean, and there was man, there's so many nuggets. I mean, I teased her at the end, the nugget about, as a tech person, I was like, why didn't I think of that? Of course, you could use probably any of the little components with any of the apps because they're just swiping, right? But I also love how she kind of talked about her journey. We've talked about this a little bit in past episodes about how depending on where you are in your life, sometimes you just need a change. Sometimes, even if you have this successful business, because it sounded like her first brick and mortar business was a success, but it just wasn't what she wanted anymore. It was time for her to change. And I like that she has the courage to change and try something new. She's kind of like this free spirit. And it takes a lot of guts and it is really scary too. But sometimes when you do it, it pays off. And so I think her style is really cool. I like her idea of even selling her patterns because actually that is really big right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to find out how her mobile business goes. So definitely, if everything is a success, which we know it will be, hopefully we can have her back maybe in 2016 to talk about some of the lessons learned on her road trip and, and find out how she's doing.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We sure did. So I just want to let you guys know that we have a couple great mobile boutiques that we have lined up for our upcoming episodes. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And then, what just kind of dawned on me as you were talking, I was looking on my phone before I mentioned it just because I was curious. In her episode, she says something she kind of calls her style modern prairie. And I was like, oh, she should totally hashtag her stuff with modern prairie because I kind of like that term. But you know what? Of course, she already has. She's hashtag modern prairie, which is pretty cool. So I feel like everybody who feels like their style is kind of modern prairie too should totally use that hashtag so the hashtag could kind of blow up. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, I digress.
Sure.
But yeah, so don't forget to check us out on social media. On Instagram and Twitter, we are at FFT_official_. Facebook, just type in Find a Fashion Truck, you'll find us. Pinterest, same thing. We're also on Periscope, which is related to Twitter. So I don't know why I said that last. And at the beginning of this episode, we already mentioned leave us a voicemail, please. It makes us all happy, warm, and fuzzy inside. So just go to startafashiontruck.com. click on podcasts. And remember, for the fashion truck directory, just go to findafashiontruck.com to see what trucks are in your area.
And you know this was coming, people. iTunes, okay? Go there, rate us, leave a review. You'll feel much better about your life after you do it.
And as you already heard on this episode, like, your ratings and you sharing this episode will help keep Estrell out of the streets.
You had to bring that up again. But that is my fear. Like, I don't want to be that person wearing a costume dancing on the street with a sign for Domino's or the Liberty Tax people.
Now, I will say this. If any of you listeners are doing that, you know what? The hustle is real. If you are getting paid and that's what you need to do in order to accomplish your dreams, do what you got to do.
Yeah, but I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. It's like, it's so creepy. That's the only thing. I'm not putting it down. It just creeps me out to see people in like weird costumes dancing for no reason without music.
This episode is taking like such a weird turn. Lauren, we got off the call with you and now we're going down this weird and windy path.
I know. Okay. Wind it
Wrap
back.
it up.
Wind it back. Okay.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Okay. So if you want to get points with Santa Claus this year, go and leave us a great review and rating. Okay. Santa will leave you something nice and pretty under the tree this year.
And I'm working on a giveaway too. So stay tuned.
All right, people. We're out.
All right.
Thanks for parking here.